We all know that feeling, right? Staring down something that just feels huge, too big.
Yeah, like a massive project or maybe a difficult conversation you keep putting off.
Huh.
These modern-day giants.
Exactly. Well, today on the deep dive, we're actually looking at some literal giants and how they were faced, drawing from First Chronicles chapter 20.
That's right. It's a passage that gives us a pretty vivid snapshot of King David's reign.
Does it credit?
Focuses on some, key military wins for Israel.
And we'll be looking at the biblical text itself, but also thinking about, well, what does this mean for us? How can these ancient stories maybe strengthen our faith today?
Yeah, our mission, if you like, is to dig into that ancient wisdom and see how it connects now.
Because it's not just ancient history, is it? There are some really surprising insights here about leadership, teamwork, resilience, things that are super relevant.
Definitely. So where do we start? The Siege of Rabbah.
Let's do it. So the chapter opens, Joab's leading the army, besieging Rabbah, that's the Ammonite capital, but David, he's not there initially.
No, interestingly, David stays back in Jerusalem while Joab handles this pretty major military operation.
And Joab pulls it off. He captures Rabbah, destroys the city.
He does. And then David arrives.
Right. And the text mentions him taking the Ammonite king's crown. It says it weighed a talent of gold, that's a lot, and had precious stones.
Heavy is right. And it was placed on David's own head. Plus, they took a huge amount of spoil from the city.
The account also includes a pretty stark detail about how David treated the captured people of Rabbah, using saws, iron picks, axes.
Yeah, it's a difficult detail. It certainly reflects the harsh realities of warfare back then. We're just reporting what the text says here, of course.
Absolutely. And after all this, David and significantly all the people head back to Jerusalem. It signals this unified victory.
It does. And that detail about the treatment really anchors it in the specific and very different historical context. So after Rabbah, the narrative shifts.
Yeah, it moves on to these wars with the Philistines, and this is where we meet the giants.
The larger-than-life figures, quite literally.
Right. So first up, there's a battle at Gezer. A guy named Sibbechai the Hushathite kills Sippai.
And Sippai is specifically mentioned as one of the descendants of the giant, or the Rephaim, as they're sometimes called. After this, it just says the Philistines were subdued.
Okay. Then another battle. This time it's Elhanan, son of Jair.
And he kills Lami. And get this, Lami is the brother of Goliath.
Okay, Goliath, brother. And it mentions his spear shaft was like a weaver's beam.
Exactly. It's a detail clearly meant to convey immense size and strength, just like Goliath's description elsewhere.
And there's another one, a third encounter, this time at Gath. A man described as being of great stature.
With 24 fingers and toes, 6 on each hand, 6 on each foot, also identified as a son of the giant.
It's quite the image. And this giant, he defies Israel.
But he's taken down. Jonathan, who was the son of David's brother Shemiah, steps up and kills him.
So the passage kind of wraps up this section by saying these giants, descendants of the Rephaim from Gath, were all defeated by David and his servants.
Right. David and his men. So, okay, we've got the siege, we got these giant slayings. What are the takeaways for us looking back?
Well, one thing that jumps out is that teamwork aspect, isn't it? With Rabbah, David wasn't even there for the main fight. He trusted Joab.
That's a huge point about leadership, right?
Yeah.
Delegated leadership. David trusted his commander.
Yeah. It suggests leadership isn't always about being on the front line yourself. Sometimes it's about empowering your team, trusting their skills.
Exactly. Recognizing strengths, letting others lead in their areas. That's often more effective, isn't it? David could focus elsewhere, perhaps on strategy, while Joab focused on the battle.
So that's applicable today in, work, ministry, anywhere, really. Letting go and trusting the team.
Definitely. And then, of course, there are the giants themselves.
Right, these literal giants. It's hard not to see them as sort of metaphors, too.
For sure. Those big, scary, seemingly impossible challenges we all face. The giants in our own lives.
And the fact that these incredibly formidable opponents were defeated, it speaks to persistence, doesn't it? Courage. Facing things down even when they look unbeatable.
And doing it with faith. We see David's men stepping up with courage. Sibbechai, Elhanan, Jonathan.
Which also connects to another idea, different roles for different seasons. David stays back for Rabbah. Maybe his role had shifted.
It could be. It suggests leadership isn't static. Sometimes you lead from the front. Sometimes you lead by strategizing, by enabling others, recognizing what's needed now.
Yeah, that makes sense. And thinking about the end of the Rabbah campaign, David and all the people returned. It wasn't just David's win.
Good point. It was a collective victory. That really underscores the importance of celebrating together, sharing the success.
How does that help, you think? Acknowledging shared wins.
Well, it builds unity, right? Reinforces that everyone's contribution matters. It strengthens bonds, makes the whole group more resilient for the next challenge, moves away from just personal glory.
Yeah, focusing on the bigger mission, not just who gets the credit. That applies everywhere: work, family, church life.
Absolutely. It's about the collective purpose.
So bringing this all together, how can reflecting on these, ancient military accounts actually strengthen our faith today?
Well, I think a key thing is seeing God's evident favor on Israel during this period under David. These victories against fortified cities and these intimidating giants, they weren't just down to human effort alone in the narrative.
Right. There's a sense that God was enabling them.
Exactly. And that serves as a powerful reminder for us. The same God who helped them overcome their seemingly impossible odds is with us as we face our giants, our challenges.
So faith in God can empower us, give us the strength we need.
That's the idea. We aren't facing things alone. Just like David had his commanders, his people, his faith,
Hmm.
we have God's support and often a community of faith too.
And those principles we talked about, trusting God, yes, but also teamwork, courage, knowing our role, they all contribute to building resilience, deepening that reliance on God.
Yeah, they work together. Looking back at these examples shows God's faithfulness, his consistent involvement with those who trust him. That's got to be encouraging for believers now, hasn't it?
It really has. Knowing He's present in our battles too, big or small.
Mm-hmm. Consistent support.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, it really seems the key takeaway is just how relevant these old stories remain for our challenges, for our faith.
Enduring relevance, definitely.
So maybe a final thought for you listening. What are the giants you're facing right now? And how might these principles, trusting God, leaning on your community or team, finding courage, understanding your specific role, how might they apply in your situation? And maybe also consider, how can celebrating wins, both yours and those of your community, deepen your connections and your faith journey? Something to reflect on.